प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवत गीता की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीविशाखपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। सप्तकांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate 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 Vasudevaya.
So we are going to read from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is. Text number 10.26, chapter number 10, verse number 26. Asvastha sarvavrukshanam devarsinam cha narada gandharanam chitraratha siddhanam kapilo muni asvastha sarvavrukshanam devarsinam cha narada gandharanam chitraratha siddhanam kapilo muni asvastha sarvavrukshanam devarsinam cha narada gandharanam chitraratha siddhanam kapilo muni Translation in purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada ki jai. Of all trees I am the banyan tree, and of the sages among the demigods I am Narada. Of the Gandharvas I am Chitraratha, and among the perfected beings I am the sage Kapila. Purport. The banyan tree, Aswastha tree, is one of the highest and most beautiful tree, and people in India often worship as it's one of the daily morning rituals. Among the demigods, they also worship Narada, who is considered to be the greatest devotee in the universe. Thus, he is a representation of Krishna as a devotee. The Gandharva planet is filled with the entities who sing beautifully, and among them the best singer is Chitraratha. Among the perfect living beings, Kapila, the son of Devahuti, is a representative of Krishna. He is considered an incarnation of Krishna, and his philosophy is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Later on, another Kapila became famous, but his philosophy is atheistic. Thus, there is a gulf of difference between them. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Chara Swami Niti Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarini Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadara Sri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Before I start my class, as Ramchandra Prabhu already mentioned, I have just returned from some pilgrimage from India. About 7-8 weeks, I was in India. Visited several places, standard places. Vrindavan Parikrama for 1 month. Purushottam sector Parisama in Jagannath Puri. And then, of course, we visited 2 more places, at least 1 more place definitely. That is for the first time I visited. And that is Gangasagar Mela. Or Gangasagar, not Gangasagar Mela, it is Gangasagar. And that's why I picked up these words here for Kapila. Among the perfected beings, Kapila is name being mentioned, and Kapil Munis. Before I go to that, I would like to extend some thanks to the devotees' mercy by whose grace I have been able to, or we have been able to do successfully our pilgrimage. Especially Arundhati Mataji and her husband for making all kinds of arrangements for our entry to India, and especially also to Raman Sarma Prabhu and Malaya Prabhu for arranging so many things for us. So thank you very much for them, and of course the rest of the devotees by whose mercy we have been able to do this parikrama successfully. Because as we get older, difficulty becomes walking and so many troubles come up. But probably we didn't face any of those troubles. Thank you for giving us your mercy, and I'm very thankful for that. Especially today is the day of Ganga Sagar Mela. I have picked up this verse because of Ganga Sagar Mela. Today is the day which is called Ganga Sagar Mela, where thousands and thousands of people get together for celebrating this Ganga Sagar. Ganga Sagar is a place where Mother Ganga meets Bay of Bengal. And that place is why this place is so important. So many rivers meet together. There are many, many rivers, they come together, they meet together. And there are other places like in Prague, two rivers, of course, Ganga and Jamuna meet. The meeting place, of course, there is a third river which is invisible, which is called Saraswati. If you at all want to see this sweet water and the black water of Ganga and Jamuna, that's where these two rivers meet in Prague, Allahabad. And Saraswati, which is greenish water, which is not visible here, is only visible near Himalayas where it starts from. If you happen to go Himalayas, you will be able to see the Saraswati river also. This is a greenish water. After Ganga and Jamuna, Ganga is a sweet water, white, and Jamuna is blackish water. Where they meet, where they converge with each other, you can see different colors, at least two colors you can see. And it is mentioned in Rig Veda that by taking bath in this place, in Prague, in Allahabad, person becomes, at least person is eligible to enter into the Swargalokta by taking bath just. And by leaving the body in that place, one will leave this material world forever and never come back to the material world, especially if you leave the body. Of course, these are some external considerations. It is mentioned that it is not only this bath or it is not only this leaving the body, but it must be done with the Gnan. Gnan vina mukti nahi. Gnan vina koi futtan. That means there is a Gnan is also necessary. Simply taking bath in the river is not going to help you so much. But there must be a Gyan. Gyan means our eternal relationship with Krishna should be recognized also. And with that intention, one takes the bath in that Prague, river Prague, where two rivers meet, or even this Ganga Sagar, where Mother Ganga meets Bay of Bengal. It is said that we know that every 12 years there are Mahakumbh Melas, 4 different places. One is them in Prague, another is in Ujjain, another is Nasik, another is in Haridwar. Every 12 years this kind of Kumbh Mela takes place. And millions of people get together. Of course, it goes for 1 month, whole month. Millions of people get together and they take bath, and there are so many festivities going on. But this Prague, or this Ganga Sagar Mela takes place every year, once a year. And that's on Makar Sankranti Day. That was practically yesterday. The Ganga Sagar Mela actually takes place every year. And it's same like practically Kumbh Mela. Many people get together and they take bath in that, where the river Ganga meets Bay of Bengal. Of course, it is far from Kolkata. It seems to be very close to Kolkata. It is not so close to Kolkata. We have been able to go there, but it's a long journey. You have to take a bus or taxi or train to go to one place. Then you have to take a boat to go to another place, and then you have to take another bus or taxi or whatever available thing is there, and then you can take Ganga Sagar. Ganga Sagar place is important. It is mentioned that Ganga Sagar is the place where the Sagar Maharaj, thousands of sons were liberated from these sinful reactions. Just their ashes were lying there at Ganga Sagar. Their ashes were lying there, and by some Bhagira's constant efforts, Mother Ganga became pleased, and she decided to come to the earthly planet. And when she came down in touch, or these ashes were touched by the Ganga water, they all became liberated. 60,000 sons were burned to ashes at this Ganga Sagar. And all these sons were liberated by the touch of the Ganga water. So you can think that just by touch of the Ganga water, these ashes, they were already turned into ashes and they became liberated. So what happens if you go and take bath, if you go and take snan, if you go to take a dan, and if you take a snan there, and if you have some gyan, what will be your position? Guaranteed liberation is there, because you can see this. There is a direct evidence that these people, these Sagar Putras were delivered just by the touch of the water of Ganga. So if you happen to go to that place, if you take the bath, if you take the jam, if you do the jam, and if you do the dan there, 100% liberation is possible for you at Ganga Sagar. I have gotten some water from Ganga Sagar, fortunately. You can sprinkle some of the water on your head today, because that's a Ganga Sagar water where Mother Ganga meets. So you can think of the importance of Ganga Sagar. This is only one part of the Ganga Sagar. The second part of the Ganga Sagar is the Kapil Muni. Kapil Muni's ashram is there. Kapil Muni's original ashram was in Gujarat, Siddhapur. Finally, he traveled from there to Ganga Sagar and he established his ashram there at Ganga Sagar. So Kapil Muni's ashram is there. Kapil Muni's instructions are very important. Kapil Muni is actually was able to release these sons. Actually, there is a long story, but I will just cut down the story in short. That Sagar Putras were burned to ashes because they became offensive towards Kapil Muni. Kapil Muni was in meditation. Sagar Maharaj performed some kind of Ashwamedh Yajna. Somehow the other Ashwamedh Yajna horse was stolen from there by Indra and kept at Kapil Muni's ashram. And then Sagar Putras, 16,000 Sagar Putra sons were looking for this horse. When they came to Ganga Sagar, they came to Kapil Muni's ashram. They saw Kapil Muni in deep meditation, and the sacrificial horse were there behind him, tied to the tree. So they thought this Kapil Muni is responsible for stealing this horse. And they had their anger, and they have their abusive language, and they have their offensive language, and so much heat was created, so they all burned to ashes. And then Sagar Maharaj's great grandson, Ansuman came to look for it. Finally, Ansuman came to this Ganga Sagar. He paid his obeisance to Kapil Muni and finally requested how my uncles can be delivered because they are the sons of Sagar Maharaj. And Sagar Muni's son was Asamajas, and Asamaj's son was Ansuman. So Ansuman was the grandson of Sagar Maharaj, Sagar king, and these are the Sagars indirectly. So he informed that by touch of the Ganga water they will be delivered. And then finally Ansuman informed his grandfather Sagar Maharaj that this is a position, your 60,000 sons are lying there as ashes, and if you want to liberate them, you have to bring Ganga from the celestial plains. So Sagar Maharaj gave up the kingdom, started performing severe austerities. He could not face Ganga in his lifetime. So then Ansuman, his grandson, took over the austerity. He could not face even Ganga during his lifetime. So then Ansuman's son, King Dilip, took over the austerities. King Dilip could not face even Ganga. Finally, King Bhagirath, King Dilip's son, took over the austerity. And King Bhagirath was able to face Ganga. But Ganga said that, yes, I am pleased with your austerity, I'll come down to deliver your great-great-grand-uncles. But the problems are, there are two problems. I am going to come from the celestial plains with such a high force that I will go down direct into Patal, and I will not stay on the earth planet where the Sagar Putras are lying there. So somehow or the other you have to make arrangement so that I can stay on the earth planet. Second is, she also mentioned that yes, somehow or the other you may save me on the earth planet, but there is a possibility that all sinful people will come and take bath in me, and I will lose my sanctity. So there's a second problem. So I will lose also my sanctity. Then King Bhagirath promised him that, yes, promise her that I will do some severe austerity to please Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva will be definitely able to take your force on his head. And second thing he mentioned that saintly persons, Vaishnavas and sadhus will take bath in your water. So they will not only decontaminate you, but they will not purify you. So Ganga became pleased with these two promises, and Ganga decided to come from the celestial place down to the earth planet. And then roaming around the Saptasi planet, roaming around the Dhruv planet, finally she came down on the Kamandalu of Brahma, and from Kamandalu of Brahma, it came right down on the head of Lord Shiva. And Shiva kept it for some time, and then Lord Shiva released this Ganga water for the deliverance of the sons of the Sagar Putras. They were lying there at Ganga Sagar. And that water, that Ganga came down from mountains of Himalaya. If you happen to go at all to the Himalayas, it's a very difficult journey. Worth trying, worth visiting. There is a Gomukh where Ganga comes down from the Himalayas, and then ultimately it flows down from Himalaya, going down all the different places, coming ultimately to even Navadvip Mayapur. She stopped in Navadvip Mayapur for celebration of her master's appearance. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, she stopped there. And finally at Jahnudvip, she disappeared because she washed away the parts of Jahnavi Rishi. And finally Jahnavi Rishi released her from her ears, which is known as Jahnavi river. And that Jahnavi river ultimately comes to Ganga Sagar to deliver the sons of Kapil, to deliver the sons of Sagar. So they were delivered like that. So you can think of, there is an example here that these ashes were delivered, liberated, and they went to the original goal of Vrindavan, and they were delivered from this material bondage. So you can think of that if you do something at that place, this is the example, this is a direct proof that if you do something at Ganga Sagar, where this Ganga meets the day of Ganga, definitely your deliverance, your liberation is guaranteed. There is no question of that. So this is the some part of the Ganga Sagar. This is the part of how the Sagara Putras were delivered. But how this Kapil Bhagwan or Kapil Muni, the incarnation of Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is the son of Dehuti and Kardam Muni. And Kardam Muni, of course, decided to leave the home. Then Dehuti requested her son, Kapil Muni, to give the instructions on this liberation from this material bondage. So there are many chapters in Srimad Bhagavatam about the instructions of Kapil Muni to Mother Dehuti. Many chapters. In short, we can say, in short, we'll do something. We'll give some little idea that how Kapil Muni or Kapil Bhagwan instructed his mother to be delivered from this material bondage. She was asking the question, I have gone through many lifetimes and my senses are still very uncontrolled. Not only they are uncontrolled, but they are also without any peace. So can you instruct me how to control these senses and how can I be peaceful in life? Second question she asked about Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya philosophy, very deep philosophy of Kapil Bhagwan, and he gave some idea that how this child takes place birth from their mother's womb, and what are the different stages, and what happens when, and what happens when. He described everything in his Sankhya philosophy. In short, he is telling his mother that these three kinds of miseries exist in this material world. And the main reason for this thing is three kinds of, he mentioned that Daivik and Bhautik miseries, Adhyatmik, Adi Bhautik and Adi Daivik miseries exist in this material world. Everybody has to go through. Some miseries are inflicted by our own body and our own mind. Very often our own body and our own mind gives some miseries without any external help. Sometimes the miseries are inflicted upon us by some supernatural powers. The earthquakes, overflooding, the extreme cold, extreme hot, and so many things. And then some miseries are inflicted upon us by some living entities, mosquitoes, some other living entities. They bother us also. Bed bugs, all this kind of bugs, they also bother us. So these are the miseries inflicted upon us all the time. So this is called Bhautik, Adi Daivik, and Adi Adhyatmik. So these are the miseries inflicted upon us, and the mind is the real reason for these things. He's telling much more detail, but I'm just cutting it short, that mind is the cause of our bondage and mind is the cause of our liberation. In short, he's telling that it is your mind that keeps you in this material world. It is your mind that can make you free from this material bondage. And he gives the example. He says that if the mind becomes a friend, it is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, mind is our best friend and mind is our worst enemy. So you can think, if you are sleeping with your enemy continuously, you are always in danger to be attacked by the mind. So mind has to be always kept with some good control. Good control is not possible for the mind. Mind has a habit of running around here and there. Mind's business is sankalpa and vikalpa, accepting and rejecting. You are thinking of something, you will accept something, and next time rejecting, and you accept something, you reject something. This is the business of mind. So to control the mind has to be Krishna conscious mind. It is said that if mind becomes Krishna conscious, then he is your best friend. If mind is not Krishna conscious, then he is your worst enemy. And think of the position that if you are living with your worst enemy, what will be your situation? You are always in dangerous position. You are always in danger. That how this enemy will attack me and what will happen to you. So this is the mind. So he's mentioning about the mind. Maneva Manushyanam Karana Bandhaya. He said, man is the only reason of the bondage, and man is the only reason of this liberation. So control the mind. And then he said, controlling the mind is possible only with the help of the sadhu sangha. He mentioned in short of sadhu sangha is very important in order to become free from this bondage of this material world. Sadhu sangha has been mentioned in many different places, a very important factor in advancing your Krishna. Actually, bhakti takes birth from the sadhu sangha. It is mentioned that the birth of bhakti takes with the sadhu sangha. This good association will give you the bhakti. So that is the process. Then he mentioned about this process, and then he mentions about the Sankhya philosophy. In Sankhya philosophy, he mentioned about how the child takes birth, how the child comes in the womb of the mother, what happens at every stage until he comes out of the womb of the mother. And there are two very nice instructions. There are two stages that is mentioned. Of course, I don't want to go in the details of all those stages where what happens in the womb of mother. But at least there is two stages are there is mentioned. There are two stages that I would like to mention to you about that. That when child is in the womb of mother, he is remembering all his past lives, remembering all his past lives, past karma, and he's struggling to remember those things. And when he remembers something, he is struggling there inside the womb of the mother. And he becomes unconscious because of all those remembrance of those past activities of the past lives. So all the past lives he is remembering in the womb of the mother. He's trying to remember and he becomes unconscious because of some horrible things, and he becomes conscious, unconscious. Continuous these things happen. When child comes out of the womb of the mother, for a little time, for a little time, his breathing is stopped. And at that breathing when he stopped, his all memories are gone from his mind now. Whatever he remembered in the womb of the mother is gone within 1 second. Whenever he comes out of the womb of the mother, his breathing is stopped for a fraction, for some time. And during that time, everything is wiped out from memory. He does not remember. And when he comes out of the mother's womb, he behaves like an ordinary person again. And he goes back again in the same cycle of remembering, going all kinds of things. So this is explained in great detail by Kapila Muni in Sankhya philosophy, great detail. That what happens at each stage in the womb of the mother, how child suffers, what happens, why child is praying to Krishna, please relieve me from this position. He is being packed up, he is there in a very small little space, he is continuously praying, he is continuously become unconscious, he is becoming conscious, unconscious. So many things are mentioned in great detail. Of course, it's science also knows to them, but these are some of the facts that Kapil Muni explained to his mother. That part of the Kapil Muni explanation is there. Now this Ganga Sagar Mela comes up, as I mentioned to you, actually on the Uttarayan Day, where the sun moves in the northern hemisphere, where this liberation of this Sagar Putra took place. Sagar Putras were liberated on the day of Makar Sankranti. That's yesterday. That's the place, that's the time they were liberated from that sinful reaction. They were lying there as ashes, and they were all liberated on the same day. That's why Makar Sankranti celebration is very important in Ganga Sagar. Sun moves in the northern hemisphere now, from southern to northern hemisphere. When sun moves in the northern hemisphere, that is called Devayan, Uttarayan and Dakshinayan. Uttarayan is where it moves toward the Devalok. Dakshinayan is where it moves toward the Pitralok. So these are the two different paths for the sun. One is going north, another is going south. When it goes to the north, it goes toward the demigods. When it goes to the south, when it turns to the south, then it goes down the Pitralok. And in these two different kinds of activities human beings perform. During the Uttarayan time, when they go to the Devlok, the activities are called two different kinds of activities take place. One is the karma and another is karma. Two things place. One karma binds you, another karma liberates you from this material. So persons traveling on the Uttarayan, that's why Bhishma Pita waited until almost Uttarayan time to leave his wife. Bhishma Pita has a boon of death wish. Whenever he wants to die, he will die. And Bhishma Pita waited until almost the sun moved into the northern hemisphere, and then he left the body. So at that time, it is mentioned that even by one or the another chance, if you leave the body, you have good destination. Destination towards the destination. Maybe you can be liberated, or then destination toward the Devlok is possible. When you leave the body during Dakshinayan time, you go down the Pitralok. It's another place where you go down. And it is mentioned that when you leave your body during Dakshinayan of the sun, you have to come back in the material again. When you leave the material body in Uttarayan time, there is a good possibility you don't come back to the material again. You don't take birth again in material. It's mentioned that during Dakshinayan time, when you leave the body, you go to Chandradhan, moon planet. The moon planet, you enjoy the facilities as devatas enjoy, and once your punya is finished, sine punya mrityu loka visanti. If your punya loka is finished, you come back in the material again, and you go back again in the cycle of birth and disease there. So that is what happens if you do. Of course, there are other factors involved. It is not just mentioned that during these 6 months, many people leave the body. During these 6 months, many people leave the body. Don't mean that all those 6 people who leave the body in this Uttarayan time, they all became liberated. No, there are other factors involved. I'm talking in general, this is what mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. This is what mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. So these are some of the points I am mentioning to you. So Uttarayan time is the best time to do the body. Bhishma Pita left his body during that time, and Dakshinayana time is not considered a very auspicious time. But even then in Dakshinayana time, if you do the body, if you are Krishna conscious, there is no question of Dakshinayana, there is no question of Uttarayan for you, if you are Krishna. But if you are not Krishna conscious people, then one has to be arranged properly, in proper way, so that he can do the body properly like that. So that is the Uttarayan time, and that was the day yesterday. And that is the day I mentioned to you, that when the Sagarputras were delivered by the touch of Ganga water. So you can think, as Ganga water comes down to there, to Bay of Bengal, it missed there, and that's called Ganga Sagar. It's a huge place, and a huge, large gathering took place. It takes place every year on this day. While in the Kumbh Mela, it takes place every 12 years once. Different places, of course, once in Prayag, once in Ujjain, once in Nasik, and once in Haridwar. But this takes place every year. And this is a place where a person can get liberation from this material bondage. That's why people go to this, especially Ganga Sagar Mela. Today is the celebration of Ganga Sagar Mela. 15 January is the day of celebration of Ganga Sagar. Thousands and thousands of people go and take bath there. And that taking bath is possibility for the liberation of the material bondage. So that is in short Kapil Muni's instruction, Ganga Sagar Mela. And now I will go to give you some little story about Vrindavan, which is a very interesting story. This has nothing to do with today's class. This is something different. But a very interesting story. I heard it in Vrindavan while traveling in Vrindavan. There was one local girl in Vrindavan who grew up in Vrindavan. She was very attached to Krishna and she was very attached to Vrindavan Dham. She grew up in Vrindavan. She got married later on and she moved out of Vrindavan for one or the other reason. And then after marriage, when she became old, she decided to move back to Vrindavan again. So she came back with her son, daughter-in-law. Everybody, they all moved to Vrindavan back. She was, of course, an old lady at this point. Every Janmashtami, she used to dress Krishna, of course, in her home. And that was the first duty she used to perform all the time, every Janmashtami. That's their tradition, that's their always doing the way they did on Janmashtami. So every Janmashtami she finishes everything for Krishna, and then she starts her daily activities or whatever activities she has to do. So on one Janmashtami, she requested, of course she was getting older and older, so requested her daughter-in-law, please, today is Janmashtami, please make all the preparation for Janmashtami first, and then do whatever you are supposed to do for your family matters or family affairs or whatever. So daughter-in-law did not pay any attention too much to this request of this mother-in-law. So mother-in-law again said it again, please, today is Janmashtami, do something for Krishna first, finish up Krishna's activity, Krishna conscious activity, and then do your other duties. She didn't pay any attention. Finally, mother-in-law became little upset and she, little loud voice, she said, can you hear me? I'm talking to you. Please do these activities first and then do your activities. So daughter-in-law, of course, was not very happy by this order because she was doing something already. But finally, anyway, hearing to her mother-in-law, she got up and she took Krishna, the Vigraha of Krishna. Somehow or the other, the Vigraha of Krishna fell down from his head and fell down on the ground. So mother-in-law heard some sound and she said that, oh, what happened? You must have hurt my Krishna. You must have hurt the Vigraha of Krishna. Did you hear me? Did you hurt him? She didn't answer anything, but then she kept on telling that you must have hurt my Krishna. You must have hurt my Krishna. Please do something. Go and get doctor and find out what happened to Krishna. What happened to Krishna? She kept on. Then she started screaming and crying. So finally, her son came out and she said, "What's happening?" So, of course, son's wife explained, daughter-in-law explained that this is what happened, and mother is asking that get the doctor so that we can see whether Krishna has been hurt or not. So the son said, "Mother, this is the Archa Vigraha from the copper or from the brass. It's not damaged, nothing has happened to it. Don't worry about it. It's brass, don't worry about it." Then mother did not believe. Mother said, no, my Krishna has been definitely hurt. you must get doctor, you must get doctor, you must get doctor. So the neighbors heard, the older neighbors came to the house and they said, what's going on, what commotion is going on here? So son explained the fact. Then the one elderly man said that just for the satisfaction of your mother, go and get doctor. We know that this is a brass archa vigraha, nothing has happened. But just for the satisfaction of your mother, just go and get doctor. What's wrong? Nothing wrong in that. So finally, son went out in the town and asked the doctor that this is what has happened. Please can you come and look at it? So doctors were surprised. What do you want to look at this? Brass archa vigraha and it gets hurt, that's what you are trying to tell me? So doctors are not getting ready to come even out. They said, no, nothing, I don't think so anything has happened there. Finally, somehow or the other, his son has convinced one doctor to come out. Otherwise, mother will not be very still upset. So one of the doctors came out with his bag in the home and then he came to the house. And of course, as usual, standard opinion, it's a brass archa vigraha. Nothing has happened, mother, don't worry. Mother could not be classified just by the statement because that statement she has heard from his son, from her son already. So she said, no, please check out my Krishna. I'm sure he must have fallen from the hand. He must be hurt. So doctor said, okay. So he started taking out his stethoscope and something like that and started to look at this archa vigraha of Krishna. Mother was sitting by there, and then doctor first of all took out stethoscope and tried to hear something on the, as if he's checking, is there anything wrong with Krishna? Everything is okay or not? So he was checking and put the stethoscope on the chest. And doctor could not believe. It's responding to the stethoscope and I am hearing some kind of breathing sound in it. Doctor could not believe it. This is a brass archa vigraha and I am hearing something from this stethoscope. He tried to hear it a couple of times and he did feel that yes, I am hearing something. So he took the stethoscope on the back of the side. Started to hear something about the lungs, maybe I heard something not right. And he saw on the back of the archa vigraha also he started hearing something. He was wonder that I thought this archa vigraha was just an idol. It's not something that can breathe and that I can believe that I can hear it on my stethoscope. And he did hear. Then he sat down for a few minutes and mother asked, what happened, doctor? Everything is okay? My Krishna is okay or not here? Doctor said, he's okay. He's very good, but he's okay. But what happened? Why you are sitting down very silently? What happened? So he said, mother, I'm going to give up my medical practice from today. I have never come across like this thing in my life. That this archa vigraha which I thought of brass, and I hear some breathing, and real breathing is going on. That means it's a live archa vigraha. And you are absolutely right, when live things fall down from some place, definitely there is going to be some feeling of hurt. That should be definitely. So she could not. And then finally doctor became convinced of this fact. And he gave up his profession and he said, I have never seen something like that. And this was the bhajan sung in Vrindavan by somebody. In this bhajan he mentioned about this story. And he said, the title of the bhajan is Bhagat ke bas mein hai Bhagwan. Bhagat ke bas mein hai Bhagwan. The Lord is uncontrolled, but he can be controlled by his devotees. And we can see that example. There are examples of Lord Sri Krishna being controlled by his devotee. Krishna was controlled by his devotee, pure Arjun, pure devotee. When Krishna became not only the charioteer for the Arjun, but he became a messenger for the Yudhishthira. Not only became charioteer or not only became messenger, but he became even servant of Yudhishthira Maharaj. So you can see the position of devotee in respect to Krishna. Krishna becomes so pleased that he will serve even his devotees to any extent, whatever extent he has to do, he will go and do that thing. And there is an example of this story that Bhagat ke was. It's a whole bhajan. I don't know the whole. I don't remember the whole bhajan, but the title was Bhagat ke was mein hai Bhagwan. Bhagat ke was mein hai Bhagwan. So this is the story where Krishna is controlled definitely. Krishna is controlled. Krishna is considered to be unconquerable, Achitendriya. But Krishna can be controlled, can be conquered by devotees pure love. When devotees are pure love, they can control Krishna, they can conquer Krishna, they can talk to Krishna. But you have to have faith that thing. And here is the example of Vrindavan that I gave a little story. So I'll stop my class here. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you for giving us your blessings for happy pilgrimage. Thank you very much. Hari Bol. If you have, I can try. I will try to answer if possible. Yes. Bhakti takes birth. The birth of bhakti takes place with the satsang sadhu sangha. Chaitanya Charitamrita mentioned. Let me remember the quotation from Kaviraj Goswami. Bhakti is birthplace to sadhu sangha, and when it takes birth of the bhakti takes place with the birth. Bhakti's birth takes place with the sadhu sangha, and then sadhu sangha remains still very key important factor in developing of I don't remember the exact quotation. There's a nice quotation about Kaviraj Goswami mentioning Chaitanya Charitamrita. Unfortunately, I can't remember that quotation. But the quotation is like that: the birth of bhakti takes place with the sadhu sangha, and once the birth is taken place by the sadhu sangha still remains an important factor in advancing in the bhakti. It remains that. That's the two factors remain. So I don't remember the exact word, but very nice quotation about that. Birth of bhakti takes place with the sadhu sangha. So with the association of devotees, the bhakti develops. And when bhakti is developed, still association remains a very key factor in developing or in advancing in Krishna consciousness. It is not that I have my bhakti has taken place, now bhakti has taken birth, so I don't have to worry now. I can be my own and I can do something else. No. You can be lost again in the path of bhakti if your association is gone. Sadhu sangha. Bhakti mula sadhu sangha, that's what it is mentioned. That sadhu sangha is the mood of the bhakti. And then sadhu sangha remains again very important link in advancing Krishna consciousness. So that is what it is mentioned. That means sadhu sangha. Sangha association plays a very key role. Of course, we know that even in material law, world law. If you want to know how the person is, then it is saying that tell me the person with whom you live, I will tell you who you are. In short. So if you want to know that person, how is that person, find out with whom he is associating. And then you will find out that that person is like that. All kind of smokers, they get together in the corner of the building outside, and you will see all them together. So if you want to see person, then you have to see to whom he is associating with. And if you find out his association, then you will know this kind of person is like that.
We found the verse.
Which is that?
Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela,
Yeah.
chapter 22. Krishna Bhakti Janma
Oh, Krishna Bhakti Janma Sadhu Sangha.
Krishna Prema
Janme Tenha Punamuthayaga. Yeah, that's the main still important thing. Yes. Krishna Bhakti Mula Sadhu Sangha, Krishna Prema Janme Tenha Punamukha Yanga. So mool of Sadhu Sangha, mool of Bhakti is Krishna Prema, Krishna Sadhu Sangha, and then when Krishna Prema is awakened, still that remains an important link. So one must remember that even if you are advancing in Krishna consciousness, association plays a very key role throughout beginning, middle, and end of the bhakti. If you try to go on your own, you definitely can be lost in that last part of the bhakti. And there we have seen people falling down from the highest level when they become lonely, alone, and then the mind will drag you in a different direction. So association remains a very key factor. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, in the sacred rivers, I'm a little confused. Which rivers do we bathe in and which rivers we sprinkle water on our heads?
All the rivers, but especially it is meant, let me tell you, this Ganga Sagar is the place. All the rivers come to, especially to those. The Sagar is considered to be the husband of the rivers. So all the rivers ultimately, Ganga, Yamuna, every river, they come to the ocean and they meet in the ocean. So it is mentioned that if you take the bath in that ocean, where all the rivers have come already, then you have taken the bath in each of those rivers. And Ganga Sagar is the place where practically all the rivers come through Ganga, not only Ganga, Saryu, Ganga, Jamuna, Brahmaputra, all other holy rivers, they come and meet there in Bay of Bengal. So if you take the bath in that, practically you have taken the bath of all of those rivers.
Okay. And which ones do we sprinkle our water on?
Not from every river, but especially from this Ganga Sagar, because there all the rivers have already come. So you have taken the bath of all of those rivers simultaneously by taking the water from Ganga Sagar. That's what it is mentioned. That's why Ganga Sagar is important from that viewpoint. Otherwise, in Prayag, people take bath where Jamuna and Ganga meets. Of course, Saraswati is also there. That is also there. So, but it is mentioned that this is the place where person become liberated. So these are the examples that you go to Swargalok, you become liberated, and you don't come to the material world. But think of Ganga Sagar, where all the rivers come. Not only all the rivers come, there is Kapil Bhagwan's ashram. And Kapil Bhagwan is the one who gave instruction, lots of instruction to his mother, where these things are happening. So you can think what is the position of that place. If you leave the body there, if you do some snan, gyan and dan at that place, what will be your position? Think of that position, that what will be your situation in that situation. So that's why Ganga Sagar Mela is considered to be an important place. If you can visit, it's worth visiting. Right. Not during this time of this Makar Sankranti. No. You will not be able to go there practically. It's huge crowd. Huge means impossible to control. Like if you try to go during this Kumbh Mela in Prayag and anywhere. I have tried to attend one big Kumbh Mela in Prayag. Until 1 o'clock, I would not even enter the midnight. Finally, I had to take a whole boat to go. Of course, the two rivers don't meet at the bank. Two rivers meet far away in the center of this river. So you have to take a boat, special boat. The special boat we take to the place where they have set up some kind of place to take a bath. The boat will take you there. You get off the boat and then you go down on the platform. You take the bath because two rivers meet far away from the bank. And thousands and thousands of people are going in the boat to that place where the two rivers meet together, Ganga and Jamuna. So they have made all the arrangements, but it's difficult. Very sometimes becomes because until midnight, 1 o'clock, we could not enter the river. Of course, it's going on continuously 24 hours for 30 days. But Ganga Sagar is only 1 day, only on Makar Sankranti day. So you can think of the crowd, how big will be a crowd and how difficult it will be to go to there. So that's the process. Okay, yes.
The question about the ashes, you mentioned that the
Sagar Putra.
yeah. So how is the ashes really playing the role in liberation? If the soul is gone, how the ashes are really?
The subtle body is still there in some form. Subtle body is still in some form there. One has to leave the subtle body. Gross body is turned into ashes. Subtle body does not leave very quickly. So ashes were lying there with the subtle forms. So somehow they got liberated. Because actually one has to learn how to leave the subtle body. Gross body, everybody is going to do it one at a time. Everybody has to do gross body. But the subtle body, which is mind, intelligence and false ego, it doesn't go very quickly. It stays there for a long time. It bothers. So that subtle body takes to the next destination, next destination, next destination. So the subtle body is the one that one has to learn. Krishna consciousness teaches us how to live subtle body, not gross body. Everybody has to live gross body at one or the other day. But one has to learn how to live subtle body, how to become free from this mind, intelligence and false ego and come to original adhyatmic body. We have different bodies, subtle body, gross body and adhyatmic body. Adhyatmic body is the one which is of soul. Subtle body is mind, intelligence, false ego, and gross body is that we see. So we have different layers of bodies, we have different bodies. And one has to learn how to live in subtle body. And when you live subtle body, you come to your adhyatmic body, which is a real identity. And that's where you are really, that's where you really exist. So that's what one has to learn. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. See